Good afternoon, everybody. Short video here. I know I said that last time. I actually listened to the previous video, and I think I said it was going to be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it was 19 minutes. So maybe I should stop predicting the length. But I do want to keep this one short from here in my secret location near the road, so you'll hear traffic and stuff as we go by. I am in the Bronx, so that's how it's done. There isn't really there's no farm area nearby I can go to and keep it, super quiet. But I want to talk to you about a way to think about things and teach you guys, you young folks to whom I speak, about what's happening in today's world. And my approach today is from one of the things I was listening to. There are a lot of good podcasts out there. I recommend many of them, and because they give great ideas and sometimes in nice digestible chunks. I like podcasts anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. So I'm an equal opportunity podcast listener in terms of length. And even the ones that are really long, I was listening to one of them that was, I think it's about an hour and 35 minutes. And it was an off-the-cuff comment where they're dividing us into those who will and those who will not wear masks. Even though the COVID numbers are super low compared, and they've had to change the definitions, they've had to talk about COVID deaths in hospitals, and then of course they start testing a lot right after the George Floyd tragedy. They start testing like crazy, so of course cases go up, because if you're testing more, there are going to be more cases, and you get the drift. Most people aren't smart enough, or they're in denial enough to see the obvious that's right in front of their face. But anyway, so this guy I was listening to, he was saying how if you wanted to watch somebody twist themselves into mental knots and proverbially watch their head explode, one of these mask Nazi types, ask them, when do you plan on taking off the mask? And it's funny because the people who are honest are easy to spot. And now they're delusional and weird and sycophantic Muppets, but they say, I'm going to take the mask off when they get a vaccine. Which, I mean, think about that. They're going to take a mask off. They're going to show their face when Big Pharma, Merck and Pfizer and all these guys, Merck and Gardasil, when those companies, those rapacious capitalistic pharma companies, come up with a 3-step process, they've already telegraphed it's going to be 3 vaccinations. When they come up with the vaccine, that's when that person will take off the mask. Now, you have to admire that person's honesty. I don't admire the fact that they're an unthinking puppet of authority. I almost feel sorry for them. But at least they're honest. The dishonest people, of course, give you word salad, or they start screaming at you. And it's indicative of the Dr. Seuss book, The Sneetches, where they have the cool Sneetches have stars on their bellies. And you know how the Dr. Seuss stuff is. They look kind of like yellow, chubby, pear-shaped turkeys. A Sneetch. And so the cool Sneetches who have barbecues on the beaches, and they have a lot of fun. They play volleyball and party all the time. They have stars on their bellies. And so the Sneetches who look exactly like the Starbelly Sneetches, but they don't have stars. The ones that don't have stars on theirs, they're the ones that don't have stars on their bellies, and they're what do you call it? They're lower. They're kind of substandard people. And Sylvester McMonkey McBean shows up with a machine that can put a star on your belly. And if you pay them, then you can get a star on your belly. You can go from a Sneetch with no star to a Sneetch with a star, and you can be one of the cool Sneetches. And it's a great little story. I read it as a child. I read it to my girls, and It's kind of like today where there's those with the masks and those without the masks. You have the cool people who listen to CNN and the New York Times and corporate media. They wear masks. They're the ones that don't want to kill grandma. They're the ones who care. They're the good people. The people who don't wear masks, well, they're obviously the MAGA hat wearing, Trump supporting sickos who crave your death, and they're bad. They don't have a star on their belly. And this simplistic Dr. Seuss level tactic works. It's called shame or fear. So the fear gets used to make you wear a mask. Forget the fact that a cloth mask is like putting up a chain link fence to keep mosquitoes out of your property. I didn't make that up. I had to look that up because somebody said something like that and I was like, is that right? Apparently it is. If you look at science before February of 2020, where of course everything changed, right? So everything changed. But February, March 2020, you've got the whole world changes up, right? All of those old stuff, that's old science. It's from January 2020. You get my point. So if you want to keep the mosquitoes out of your property, put up a chain link fence. You want to keep virus off of your face and out of your system so you don't die of the COVIDs, put a piece of cloth over your face. I don't know how to say this. There are a couple of people who know this. Actually, there are many people who know this. Some of the people you see in the store wearing a mask, they know this, but they just want to go along to get along. They don't want confrontation. The people who rule over you know this too. You'll see the mask proverbially and literally will slip sometimes. You saw the mayor of New York with his wife walking through Prospect Park months ago, right after they had told New Yorkers you have to stay at home and stay in your local area. Well, they don't live in Brooklyn. They live in Gracie Mansion, but they're in Prospect Park walking. And someone yelled at them for that. So, and this is the same mayor who now that, New York has turned into a shooting gallery, he's saying that we are safer for it because we let people out of prison and we've gotten rid of the sections of the police department that are the most efficient at collaring criminals and violent felons. Anyway, so the fear and the shame is what's used to get you to do as you're told, really, and not only that, it gets you to follow the plans that they have for us. And I'm going to leave you with this. So this one actually will be a shorter session. I know, you can insert your own punchline if you wish. But the Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the Gates Foundation, these non-governmental organizations, which were exposed in the Reese Commission hearings, and also there were other ones in the 20s, I can't remember the name now. They're still planning your future. The Ford Foundation specifically has paperwork on plans for you through 2050, which will be for you and your children. That you can look it up. I don't know. You want me to give you the link? Leave a comment. I'll see what I can do. If you want to see, you want to see what the plans are for you, look at those people's paperwork. They were planning, how do we do a lockdown in 2010? There's one of these UN-based organizations in 2010 came out with something, and I think it's called In Lockstep or Lockstep. That's the chapter. I believe it was the Rockefeller Foundation 10 years ago. How do we do lockdowns? How do we keep people in place? How do we control movement? Right? In other words, how do we control freedom? They don't want you to be free, both physically free. They want you in your place, mentally, intellectually, and geographically. Why do you think they make traveling such just harder and harder? Right? It's shoes and the belt and the machine. Come on, don't you see the pattern? I don't know. Maybe I'm good at seeing the patterns and others aren't. I'm still working on that one. But they even had the COVID stuff. 2004-05, your boy, Fauci, he was part of a study and talking about, and there's paperwork on this too, where he's talking about the COVID and how it is respiratory, and it is something that hydroxychloroquine can affect and get rid of. So we need something else, really. We need something that can gestate, because a lot of your SARS and other viruses, they manifest themselves so blatantly and brazenly that they're easy to spot, and people can see stuff that they can see when it stops. And so we needed a novel coronavirus, and we needed something unique, something novel to do what we want to do. And so Fauci, they dismissed the original COVID corona stuff because that didn't fit their paradigm. It also didn't line their pockets. The people who pay them, that idea didn't fit. That idea didn't make them wealthy. It garnered them nothing positive in terms of money, power, or control. This was 2004, 2005. None of this stuff is private. None of it is hidden. It's not even hidden in plain sight. It's just in plain sight. But they know that the vast majority of people, especially those in your garden variety public school, aren't going to do any research. They aren't going to do any reading. Some of them can't read at the level at which those documents are written. They just don't care. They're going to watch the new Netflix special, which has 11-year-olds twerking. You like that? You cool with that? That was a trial balloon. They put that one out there to see the reaction. Now, they got a really, really rough backlash. They'll do it again. It'll be 6 months to 3 years from now. They're continually normalizing this kind of thing. It'll be back. And you're going to wonder why your 10-year-old daughter is wearing a halter top and spray-on shorts and shaking her ass to the dudes in her class. Well, I'm telling you why. Because this is what they do. In all respects. There's a method to their madness. And they put it out there for everybody to see. I don't think there's a method to your madness. And that's why you lose. And that's why you're screaming about things that don't matter. So maybe you'll listen, maybe you'll take the lesson seriously.